This week we're going to look at space frame trusses. This is a project on the screen right now that was part of ARCH 2014 computer visualization, introducing the space frame and the idea of adaptive columns. It worked out to be a pretty good project, so I think it's a good introduction for us. So we'll get started, at least with the first part of our lab, creating the space frame truss. So I'll close that off and go into Revit, and the first thing we'll do is open up a new conceptual mass. And I'll give that a name right away, just so we start to have some clear organization to our project. So I've already made a folder called Space Frame, and I'm going to call this surface, I'll call it Space Frame Space Surface. And the first thing we want to do is create some boundary conditions. So I'm going to go to the south elevation. The first thing I'm going to do is add a level in. I'll go up 40 feet. Now we have an idea of scale for where we place our form or surface. And we'll go to level 1, and we'll put some perimeter boundaries on, just visually, so we know where we are with size. So I'm going to go ahead and duplicate over a few of these. I'll make it 30 feet by 30 feet. That'll 30 feet on each side of the center line, so it's 60 feet by 60 feet actually. So I'm going to copy these up. And we'll go to a 3D view. So our surface is going to exist in there. First thing I want to do is I'm going to just create a shape. And I've just used the point, I'm not sure, let's see what they call this tool, spline point through points. The reason I use the points instead of these spline lines is that we can manipulate these points in 3D space. So we've created that, we have our points. Now let's take a look at what we've actually done. I'm going to go to level 1, and I'm going to take these points and I'm just going to move them to obviously these kind of logical locations, just to get things under control a little bit. And now let's we'll go to the west or east elevation, and we've actually locked those into the grid. So one of the easiest ways to get that off of there is just to copy that up. And I'm not going to touch the other grid. I don't want to lock into anything. And I'm going to I'll keep that one there. We'll actually reuse that. And now we'll just pull some shape into this. And that actually, let's get this point up. All right, now let's take a look at it in a 3D view so you get an idea of what's happening here. Let me zoom in. All right, so that looks wildly misshapen there. It's a little deceiving when you look at these. You got to figure out what exactly you see. All right, we need another line. I'm going to actually just pull back a little bit on these. Oops. And I think I'm going to get rid of the one that's on the bottom. And I'm going to copy this one over. And we're going to use that and just reshape it. We're going to this form creation is really based on the idea of taking this spline surface, and then let's take it and we're going to take these two splines and then create a form out of them. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of variation just to get a free-form surface. All right, so now we have our two lines that we can create form between. I just want to go up to the top, take a look at, they have both these kind of identical shapes to them, so we could possibly just make a little bit of another dimensional manipulation of it. And okay, so now we're ready to actually create our form. Select both of those, create a solid form, and there we have our curvilinear geometry. And the last part I want to do with this clip is actually now, this is where we're going to attach our space frame to. And I'm going to select it, and the first thing I'm going to do is divide off that surface. And it has a beautiful number of divisions to it, but we're actually going to reduce those down. That's a 12 by 12. Once I've selected that division of surface, that defaults to 12 by 12. But I'm going to just reduce that down. That 12 by 12 would be 144 elements. If we just go down to 8 by 8, we're down to 64. And in the process of learning, if we work with less divisions, we've got less elements that we place in, less screen redraw times, things move along a little quicker. We can always step back to more refinement later on. So I'm going to end this clip, and we'll pick up on actually making a space frame to apply to this next.